welcome back. And, well, a lot going on around the world. And as you know, one of the headlines this morning is what's going on with Venezuela? Well, very honored and timely to have back with us Richard C. Lyons. He's the he's a world historian, third-generation printer who's been involved in publishing, stage production, television production throughout his professional career. He's the author of a trilogy on the American government, with the latest and the third volume entitled Passage Through the Shadows. You can take a look at that there. And he does have a website, richardclyons.com. And there's the picture of that landing page. And by the way, check out the trilogy. Absolutely wonderful. All kinds. There's a picture of all of them going on there. Brother Richard, good to see you, friend. How are you, pal?
Good to see you, Barry. Good morning.
Good morning. Well, there's mounting effort for the president not to do anything militarily in Venezuela. Can you back up and tell us why are we even doing this?
You know, I've made a study of this, and it really goes back to the beginning of the Biden administration when he opened the borders. And during that period of 4 years, tens of millions of illegal immigrants, including persons who were murderers, persons members of cartels, drug dealers, slavers, all of these people came to our country without being vetted, and at this exact same time. If you remember, in 2020, they were burning down all the cities with BLM and Antifa. And then they created sanctuary cities, right? And then they lessened the laws against criminality. All of this lent to a concentration in sanctuary cities of safeguarded drug markets, safeguarded slave markets. And these exist in a marriage between alien cartels that immigrate. They invaded the United States. And they created ties with domestic gangs. And they were safeguarded by the administrations of certain states that are sanctuary states, certain cities that are sanctuary cities. And the drug flow that started coming in, that included fentanyl from China that routed through Mexico, and then cocaine and other such lethal drugs and addictive drugs, came out of course, South America, where they've been coming from for years. But we're talking about the death rate of America's youth, on average, ODing on these drugs is 100,000 per year and more.
Wow.
Now, you and I will remember, Perry, during the 1960s, the latter half of the 60s, when the Democrat Party that decided to begin the Vietnam War decided to lose it, and brought the media in and said, oh, the horrors of war, look at all the body bags every day. If you had 100,000 body bags in the middle of Washington, D.C., maybe the Democrat Party would wake up. But the reason there is this threat against Venezuela is not only did Maduro fix and rig an election that he lost and then said, well, I'm not abiding it, and threw out his opposition, killed his opposition, the things that tyrants do. So you have lethal drugs coming out of that country, killing Americans, poisoning them. You have an illegitimate government that's ruling through oppression and murder. So what are we, the custodians of this hemisphere, supposed to do?
All right. Great explanation. Do you think members of Congress understood what you just said?
No. I think Democrats will defend their policy even if every year it's killing twice the number of Americans than the Vietnam War did in 8 years. I think they're married to their sanctuary cities because they get the money that cities receive, the representation they have at the federal level is based on population. The census to date counts everybody, irrespective of citizenship. So if Illinois has 1 million illegal aliens in it, the money they get is added to because of the million people. If the city of Chicago has 300,000 illegal aliens in it, and they do, that number is added to with the monies that the city of Chicago gets for everything. It's based on the numbers.
Does the president have the power to attack?
He does. Under Article 2 of our Constitution, he is commander in chief. And if he perceives a threat, he can attack. And look at the threat, Perry. Literally, they're calculating for every boat sunk, it saves 25,000 American lives. And you're talking about kids, Perry. You're talking about people in their 20s and their teens that they're not old enough to know what's better and what not to do, really. And they're on campuses all around the country. I mean, doing drugs is cool. It always has been. It's the way to rebel.
Okay.
And they rebel right into a graveyard.
Pope Leo decided to weigh in on this in two things. He called for a two-state solution, and now he's calling for no invasion, but more pressure economically. What's your response?
When you refer to a two-state solution, are you referring to Venezuela?
No. Excuse me. Two issues. What I'm trying to emphasize here is the Pope has now gotten politically involved. Two-state solution in Israel and more economic pressure on Venezuela.
I think what he is suggesting is exactly what Trump's doing. Trump is effectively blockading Venezuela, not allowing any plane to land in Venezuela or any plane to take off, not allowing any ship to come in, not allowing any ship to go out. And Venezuela lives on the drugs and the oil products that it pumps. So I agree with that. With regard to, and that is exactly what Trump is doing. I think he's doing it in order not to invade or to have to. He wants to make the pressure so great it's unbearable for Maduro to continue.
Okay, so
without going to war.
Okay.
With regard to Israel, I would have to differ with him, other than if the second state, so-called second state, is monitored by an international force, literally a police force or a military force that has no Hamas members, no Hezbollah members, perhaps no Arab members, but is policed not by Israelis and not by Arabs. The minute a second state is left independent from international controls, you're going to have a buildup of terrorist organizations. At the time of October 7, Israel was literally surrounded by 21 different terrorist organizations funded by Iran. Now, that number has decreased because of Israel's tremendous military capability and grit and bravery. I would hate to see that rewarded by a setup exactly as it was before October 7, when Israel gave the Gaza Strip back to the Arabs to be independently managed, and Hamas moved in. And from the moment they moved in, they used Iran's money to build up weaponry and defenses, and they used international funding to build up weaponry and defenses, and then attacked.
So
we need that again. I think, Leo, if the pontiff says we want take my Swiss guard, let everybody from Switzerland guard the Gaza Strip. Let that be a portion of a secondary state. And let anybody from around the world other than terrorist organizations run that government. I'd say, that might be an idea. And I think, again, that might be what Trump is thinking. But it cannot be a center, again, of terrorist forces that live for one reason. They literally, in Gaza, tore up the plumbing that international organizations funded. They tore up the plumbing in order to create weapons. And they'll do it again.
So I guess my follow-up question on that, Richard, is I'm shocked that we're allowing this thing to reform itself. Why haven't we finished the job? Why hasn't Trump allowed Netanyahu to finish the job?
I don't know. I think he's waiting for Hamas to give up. It has to be Israel in coordination with other states, perhaps the Abraham Accord states, that go into Gaza and disarm Hamas.
Okay.
And to disarm Hamas, you have to go through women and children.
Yeah.
And Hamas will kill the women and children rather than give up their arm. So it is extremely difficult.
I want to come back to Venezuela just for a moment here, because a few remaining questions there. I understand the threat that Venezuela drug traffic has in the United States. You make a very solid case there. And I can't help but think that other countries have the same problem that we do. But on the other hand, what do you expect for a response from Russia and China as it relates to, and maybe even North Korea as it relates to Venezuela?
They're being very quiet about it because we have a president who believes in using leverage, principally commercial leverage. So you have an inverse relationship with China where they have to sell their products into our country. And so Trump is maintaining that relationship, and I'm sure when he's talking to Xi, he's saying, yes, you have $500 billion worth of goods you need to sell in our country. But remember, if you deal with Venezuela in a way that's negative to our country, that pipeline might stop tomorrow. And the same with Russia. I might not be so nice about Ukraine if you don't wise up about Venezuela. So their funding is dried up. Their markets, Venezuelan markets for its oil, are non-existent now.
Okay. Back to some domestic issues. What do you think about the uncovering of the Somalian problem up in Minnesota?
I think about the philosopher Voltaire. He said, if you are a person who is a feeling person, life is a tragedy. If you are a person who is a thinking person, life is a comedy. And I would think this is comedic, unless part of $1 billion ends up in the hands of al-Shabaab in Somalia and is creating a tyrannical oppression there, which is based on, murder. American taxpayer money under the protection of the governor and the AG of Minnesota and the mayor of the Twin Cities protected the fraud that was going on so that they could get a kickback of Democrat donations while allowing money out of Minnesota that goes to Somalia and enforces the tyranny. The money goes to weapons wielded by al-Shabaab. So which of the equation do you want? I mean, I'd laugh like hell if Somalia wasn't in such terrible shape. And if, that Tim Walz, that Ellis, and that the mayor of the Twin Cities would protect this fraud and themselves politically in order to have more donations and votes, it's sick. And if they care about Somalia, they never should have let this happen.
Do you think they'll be held accountable?
They better be, if not for this. My gosh, Perry, I mean, look at the ratio of the persons who have died for political reasons in Somalia. The Democrat Party is funding that through fraud in Minnesota. And the fraud is over $1 billion. When are taxpayers going to rise up and say, I think $1 billion is a lot of money? And they took it out of my pocket. They took it from my kids' education. This is crazy. They took it off my table and put it on the table of illegal aliens in Minnesota, and then they put it on the table of terrorists in Somalia. That's my money. I earned it. They stole it and gave it to somebody else.
Absolutely amazing. All right, let me take a quick break. Let me say to our viewers and listeners, check out Richard's trilogy on the American government. And there's 3 volumes there. The 3rd volume titled Passage Through the Shadows. There's a picture of the cover of the book. He does have his own website, richardclyons.com, and there's the picture of that. There's all kinds of good stuff there. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Richard Lyons back with us. Always an honor to have him. And check out his, well, he's quite a guy. He does everything, jumps tall buildings, outruns locomotives, and writes a lot of things here. Check out his trilogy of the American government, and Volume 3 now is available, Passage Through the Shadows. There's a picture of the cover there. And check out his website, richardclyons.com. Richard, news story late yesterday, Governor Newsom has rolled out a portal for citizens to report ICE activity. And what's so interesting about this, you can send pictures, you can write your comments, and it goes to this portal for everybody to see it. Well, first of all, what's your take on that? And secondly, isn't this just wide open for abuse of AI?
Oh, my gosh, yes. And it goes back to the start of our discussion. They not only allowed all these tens of millions of people into the country and give security to drug markets within their states, to cartels and gangs dealing drugs and humans, human slaves. This isn't 1859. It's 2025. And they're allowing slavery, sex slavery in their states. They protect it. And now the very force that President Trump has, by oath, as the faithful executor of all the laws of the United States, and in order to do that and secure the safety of persons in California and other blue states, that force is now going to come under attack by the governor of California and probably Illinois and probably New York, probably Mondami. This is
Oregon. Our governor has.
You're not only betraying the safety of your own citizens, you are attacking the one person trying to enforce the laws for the sake of the safety of your own citizens. You're protecting illegal alien, cartel drug dealer, human slaver people. So tell me that's excusable.
Well, it's not. And our
No,
own,
it's not.
And our own governor has announced that she will make arrangements to arrest federal agents if she thinks they're breaking the law. I can't wait to see the video of a local cop trying to arrest a federal agent.
We're back in we're back, Perry, in 1858. And the fact is, the Democrat Party at that time was the party that defended slavery. They are the party that were the secessionists in the rebel states. And they are the ones protecting human slavery today, in 2025, through their actions in sanctuary states and cities. And they trot out a mom and dad and say, we're trying to protect these people. That's not the people they're protecting. They're protecting the people who prey on those people. They're protecting gangs and cartel members. Mm-hmm. Don't give a damn about anybody. And it's vicious. And the media, like yourself, have to get on the right side of this thing and cry holy hell for what these governors are doing in their states, what these mayors are doing. Again, they're trying to protect their office by thinking they're going to convert all these people into voters. They're trying to protect their office by keeping money coming out of Washington based on population, irrespective of who are citizens. It's really it's criminal.
Yeah, crazy. Couple other quick things before I lose you here today. Twists and turns, as you know, Broberg, the federal judge, says that the January 6 defendants who were later pardoned are now entitled to refunds. What's this all about when he is such a judicial malpractice guy?
I don't know about his turn of mind, but he has been a bad actor from the bench. And I do think that January 6th persons who were bankrupted by the judicial system, the lawfare sent against them, ought to have the right to sue.
Think that'll happen?
Yes, I think so. And I think a lot of people will, well, it's the taxpayers going to pay. But I think persons like Smith, who I understand is going to be before a congressional committee to uncover what the lawfare was all about regarding January 6th and many other things,
Yeah.
like the raid on Mar-a-Lago. He has a lot to answer for. He is the one who's in peril of his liberty.
Well, him and Jack Smith are the two biggest guys, and we'll see where
Yeah.
this goes. But apparently, they're in the hot seat now. Hopefully, the Oversight Committee and the Judiciary Committee has the fortitude to press this thing all the way to conclusion. I don't know if they do.
Well, this is something we have to see. We haven't seen it, Perry, in our lifetimes. There have been Republicans who have been persecuted to the point of being put in jail and bankrupted, and they did nothing wrong.
Yeah.
We have had Democrats who have organized the Russia hoax, who went after conservative groups through the IRS, who literally surveilled people through Arctic frost for years. Are these guys going to be persecuted? Prosecuted? Not persecuted. Republicans are persecuted. Democrats aren't even prosecuted, rightfully. And that's where we got to get to.
Do you think their message has fallen apart? I mean, who do they have? Who's their leader? I mean, is it really going to be Newsom when he can't? I mean, there was an article here on the West Coast where his big donors are going to pull away from him just on how he handled the fires in Palestine.
No, and I agree with that. He handled it terribly. But we have to go back a little bit, Perry, if we have a minute. At the time, in 2016, end of the year, before the election, the Democratic Party had it all. They were about to initiate the Green New Deal, DEI, CRT, the whole bit, indoctrinate everybody in the country, make all the businesses in the country do their bidding through green energy edicts and so forth. They had socialism right in front of their eyes. Their hope, their utopia. And then Trump won.
Yeah. Yeah.
Turning the tide of socialism back. And look at how they attacked him for it. So now at this point, right, when we're going into the midterms and really in 2028, socialism lost. And now it's being uncovered. Everything they did that was illegal. All the reasons for DEI, all the reasons for critical race theory, all the reasons for the green energy scam was all to bring greater and greater socialism on this country. And Obamacare goes back to that, right? Controlling the marketplace. And now with Trump in office, it's all being turned back. So what are they going to run on? Everything they were running on before was a utopia that wasn't true. And now it can be proven it wasn't true. And it can't be true. So this is going to be interesting. And who's going to carry the flag? Newsom, whose state used to be, a free enterprise heaven. He's turned it into hell. And the Palisades are a great example.
That's a great analogy. Well, the only other thing, I guess, do you think there'll be, I realize the headlines being with the R and politics and all that stuff. Do you think there is behind the scenes anything going on to clean up the voter rolls? Because that's their last avenue to cheat.
No, and it is, and that has to continue. The fight has to be, messaging, right? Perry. It has to be based on elections controlled by states. We have to look to the swing states. There is a reason in our Constitution that the states were left to control elections in their own states. It's because you don't want a federal government that has hegemony and control of all the elections. So this is critical that laws be passed that gets mail-in balloting out of there, creates a paper trail, closes the window on endless elections that are a year long, closes the idea that you can count votes after the day of the election, and make sure that no non-citizen votes.
Richard, thank you, buddy. Appreciate you. I love your passion. Don't let it. Don't let
Gets away from me sometimes.
That's okay. Don't let it fade. Check out his website, richardclyons.com. Check out his trilogy, but go to the Passage Through the Shadows. You can surely get that online as well. Thank you, buddy. Take care.
Thank you, Perry, very much.
All right.